Hey guys, Club 5 makes a servo and axle mount for the Axial 10-2. I've got one and I'm going to put it on the superlite. Take a look. Before I actually put this on, since this is the superlite, let's just see how much the chassis weighs as it sits, and I'll weigh it just like this afterwards. We are at 1,044 grams, 36.8 ounces, 2 pounds, 4.8 ounces as it sits. No battery, obviously no wheels and tires or body. So we're going to put this piece on and see if it changes the weight. To put this on, all of this battery tray has to come out, and I'm going to try to keep this back piece right here. I'm going to try to keep that just to, have some room for my electronics. Now, Sorka does not allow battery on axle for their stuff. I'm not too worried about Sorka, so I'm just simply going to make this work. The kit looks good. It's got some aluminum, got some carbon fiber, got a fairly nice drag link, and it's got some hardware. It is actually a pretty nice kit. The kit comes with 4 new bolts to mount this to your axle. They are a tiny bit longer, and you're going to need them because of that space right there. That's what it looks like bolted up. They went in just fine. If you have an RTR, I'm not exactly sure if you still have the links and stuff. If you bought the RTR, I'm not sure if you get the extra links and stuff, but you're going to have to match the other top link right here. It's currently under the deal right there. You're going to have to match that for the other side since we're also switching to a 4-link. It came with that new drag link, and unless I'm missing something, I really had to extend this out to make it even line up somewhat straight. That's not very cool. With the servo in this configuration, oddly enough, a Traxxas front top link actually seems to fit perfectly. So I guess I'm going to keep this in there. With everything mounted up, I do have some clearances here and on the servo horn itself. Now these purple horns, they come from Turnigy 959 servos that I convert to winches for Sean Lorman of Jack's RC Recycle and Repair. So that's why I've got so many purple servo horns. So now, with this already set up, it's time to get into the chassis. So I've got to take all this loose, cut it, make room for the servo to move up and down here with the axle, and also get into some suspension work. Got that out, and I literally just used an X-Acto knife and cut all this stuff right out of the chassis. Now it's time for that new link to go in, and there's an existing hole in the carbon chassis, just like what there is in the stock chassis. You can see the new top link down in there, and this top bolt right here, let me see what it is. Yeah, right there. You're going to need some patience getting that in. The stock plastic housing was threaded through all 3 spots, but it does go in, and hopefully you guys have saved your parts and pieces to make this happen, because you also have to get some bolts and stuff to do right here. And I highly recommend you put the nuts to the outside for clearance in the chassis right here, because you can see how the servo will get close. I may have to adjust some 4 links around a little bit, but it all seems to actually go together pretty darn good. Now I get to cut the old panhard bar mount off. With everything in place, I think I like this. Now there is an inherent issue here. I'm going to try to show you guys. As you turn to the right, see how that goes up? It actually creates a bigger chassis interference right there. So that will actually hit the chassis. I'm trying to get this one handed over to this side or to the left. It really doesn't matter. But yeah, there is a little bit of chassis interference, and probably the same way with the factory chassis as well. So it's just kind of something that's going to go along with it. I don't think it'll cause any issues on the trail or anything, but I really like it. I don't like that had to look like this to even reach the servo unless I've done something wrong. Now when I had this in, the horn was over here, trying to make it shorter to where it would work, but I still had to extend it. So that's why I've got the Traxxas piece in there. but it actually seems to do all right. I'm going to power it up for you guys. Now I've got the endpoint set where it reaches maximum, where it's actually hitting the diff. So there's probably a little bit more to it. See how it kind of shifts the servo? That's actually flexing the plastic. So that's all the way. I mean, it's up against the diff cover right there. But I kind of like this. I may have to put a little bend in that big old tie rod, get a little more out of it. But so far, I think it's actually pretty decent. If you do have to get this, or if you are wanting to do this, make sure you've got some extra bolts and parts and pieces laying around, because there's no instructions and you kind of got to figure some stuff out. Another thing to think about, your servo is now moving with the axle. So don't tie down your servo wire to where it can't move with the servo. You're going to need to add some slack into that. If not, you're going to have problems. Okay, so let's get that weight. 1,049 grams, 37 ounces, 2 pounds 5.0 ounces. It was 2 pounds 4.8 ounces, so 0.2 ounces heavier. That's not bad at all. And the added weight is directly on the front axle. That's never a bad thing. So let's get some tires on this thing. One final check before we go outside. Not bad. Notice the chassis doesn't try to move, because with a panhard it always transfers to the chassis. No matter how good the panhard bar is, you know, it just always seems to make its way to the chassis. Anyway, let's go hit some rocks. Let's go ahead and put this thing on the rocks. Let's see here. So far, I am liking it. There's no torque sent to the chassis. It's all at the axle. And people can cry about, you know, it's not scale, it's not scale. Well, you know, in the extreme world of off-roading, in which these vehicles are really, you know, they're pretty darn extreme. These are not street-driven trucks or anything, you know, as in scale to be, unless you got like a scale class 0 or something like that. But you know, when you get to the high end of the off-road world, most people run a servo on axle, as in the real world terms, we're talking hydraulic steering. And that hydraulic ram, most of the time, is mounted on the axle. So that's kind of why I said servo on axle. So yeah, I mean, you can say it's scale, not scale, whatever, but really, it's just like having a hydraulic ram on your real truck. I had full hydro steering on my big truck, a full PSC system, hydro ram, everything. So, you know, I have no problem at all, and I actually prefer servo on axle for these trucks. Aha, saved it. Let's hit the Dome of Doom. Ooh, that was kind of rough. That was a hard hit on that front left side, I believe. This is a tough little climb with that ledge down there.
if I can catch that ridge right there. A little pile of whatever it is. Hey, look at that. Oh. Ooh. Really? Okay, I really want to get up this climb now. There we go. All right, let's see what we get here. Wow, I like it. Not bad. Who put that rock in the way? Wow. I don't think I'm going to be able to get out of this. Whoa. Well, I did. Interesting. I like it. I like servo on axle anyway, just for the performance aspect of it. And like I was saying, you know, when you have a hydraulic ram on a real truck on the axle, that pretty much is a servo. It's just rather than having power going to it, you have hydraulic fluid. You know, basically simple as that. There are links in the description to get this for your own Axial 10.2. Like I said, I like it. The performance is there. I did have to Velcro the battery on top of the servo, which isn't legal by Sorca, but I don't really care about that. So guys, hopefully you liked the video, and as always, thank you all for watching.